Hey, Jeff Lerner here, and in over a decade online, I have helped over 150,000 people start a business. So today we're going to talk about if you should start a business, and if so, what business you should start. All right, welcome. So we're here to talk about starting a business. So first of all, should you start a business? And then obviously, if so, what business you should start? I have some very specific opinions about what business you should start, but let's start with the first question of should you start a business? And let me weigh in with an emphatic yes. I believe so strongly to my core that there is something about operating a business that grows you and challenges you and sharpens you in a way that nothing else can. It's like the only thing I would put on a par with it is, should I have a committed relationship in my life? I would say yes. Find the right person, get into a serious relationship, because there are things you're going to learn about yourself and things you're going to learn about how to operate cooperatively and how to communicate and how to validate and how to have empathy and how to be effective in this world that there's no other environment where you can learn the things that you learn inside committed relationships. I'm not going to go so far as to say you got to get married, because that's like a social and political landmine for me to step on. But like committed relationships, there's certain things you learn in them that you can't learn any other way. Business ownership, there's certain things you learn doing it that you can't learn any other way. And in both of those cases, I would say they have the same thing in common, which is the lessons you learn from doing them are things that make you better. And if you've watched my channel much, or you've followed me for long, you know that I'm all about getting better. People want to have better lives, and I always say, then get better. If you want to get a better life, get better. Get better at life. Get more effective. Get better at sales. Get better at money. Get better at communication. Get better at physical maintenance. Get better at energy. Get better at fitness. Get better at nutrition. Get more polished, more articulate, like level yourself up. Jim Rohn, one of my favorite people to study, and he's got a lot of great quotes, but his favorite quote of mine is, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better, right? That's it. That's the X factor in life, is just how good are you? How badass are you? How elite are you? How not average are you? That's going to determine the quality of your life. And I think that there's a level of excellence. There's just certain things that you learn when you get into a total pass or fail environment. Like, we live in a culture that doesn't like to fail people anymore. Start a business and you either pass or you fail. You pass if you have money. You fail if you can't afford to stay open. And most people fail. We look at a schooling system and say, oh, if most people are failing, it's not effective. I would actually argue that business is the greatest education, because most people are failing, which means there's actually enough sting and enough pain in the lessons that they're going to retain them and learn them. Like if you go to a kid and you say, hey, tell me back in biology class when you learned about shortening telomeres, like tell me about that. Remind me like what telomeres are and why they get shortened. Like most people, I have no idea what you're talking about. But you go to somebody who's had a business and you say, hey, tell me what happens if you don't manage your expenses, you don't manage your advertising, you don't grow your capital flow to where you can pay your bills and you have to close down. Like, tell me more about that. They're not going to go, I don't remember that. Like, no, I was absent that day. They're going to go, oh my gosh, like, yeah, I know. This is what I learned and this is what happened and it sucked. I spent 3 years recovering and blah, blah, blah. Like, we retain the lessons from business because they're hard. So we learn and we grow, and that's why it's great. That's why you should do it. If something's hard, and you're probably going to learn a lot, and you say, I don't want to do it because I don't like to do hard things, and then you're saying, I don't want the education, that's craziness. I think that's craziness. So anyway, I have a pretty strong opinion about it. Granted, maybe I'm a little biased because I happen to be the founder and CEO of a company that teaches entrepreneurship and teaches people how to become more entrepreneurial and start businesses. So, hey, I'll admit my bias, but I think it's a well-founded bias because I actually happen to believe that it's really one of the best things you can do in your life. That said, let's talk about how to choose wisely. Let's talk about what business we should start. To set the stage for answering that question, I need to kind of explain my basic philosophy, and this is taught heavily within my company, Entre. We have a strong philosophy about phases of business growth from the standpoint of individual entrepreneurship. Now, there's other things that happen to businesses once they, get really big and established, or they go public, or they, have all these different parts of their life cycle. But in terms of the growth of business as an individual entrepreneur, of somebody who's starting a business, there kind of are three phases that you need to go through. It's really important to, I think, understand these phases because they're going to inform what kind of business you should start and what your expectations should be with the business that you start, what your investment should be in the business that you start, what, kind of where you are and where you should go with the business. And these three phases are cash flow, growth, and wealth. And I basically, even though these are business phases, they're really defined in terms of the individual person's life as a business owner. So for you as an individual, if you're starting a business, the first thing you have to do to be an effective business owner and effectively be in business is you have to create some kind of what I call anomalous cash flow event or anomalous cash flow phase. And when I say anomalous, what I mean is it's abnormal. It's not usual. Most people go through life and they never have a phase of their life where they have a significantly enhanced or accelerated period of cash flow that allows them to move forward into a whole other set of possibilities for their life. Most businesses fail because they never really get ahead cash flow wise. Most people fail at starting a business or becoming entrepreneurial or even ever thinking in these terms. And I would argue at some level, and this is maybe a harsh way to say it, but they kind of fail at life. They grow old, they can't retire, they don't have enough money, they have to cut back on their quality of life, they can't help the people they want to help, they can't, help their grandkids go to college, the life fail kind of status, because at no point in their life did they ever get this anomalous cash flow phase where they were able to just get ahead, sock enough money away that a whole new set of possibilities opened up, right? It's true of life and in business, and with the entrepreneurial approach to life, you really don't even differentiate between the two. Like, you're the CEO of your life. You're the CEO of You Incorporated. Your life is a business. It has money going in and money coming in and money going out. So you run your life like a business and you don't make the distinction, and you say, okay, I got to have a really healthy, positive cash flow phase in my life, or else I'm not effectively running the business of my life. How you do that is, and we'll talk about that when we talk about what businesses I think you should start, but you have to understand that if you live subsistence your whole life and you're always just barely making ends meet, and you never have what would be really a statistically rare or statistically unlikely phase of your life. Like, I'm talking, maybe it's top 1%, maybe it's top 5%. Like, it's not 30, 40, 50%. Like, majority of people, they never have this phase. You got to have a phase of your life where all of a sudden there's a really significant amount of money more than what there was before that you can shift into, like I said, unlocking all these other possibilities for your life. That's why I think owning a business is so powerful. Because you go work a job, you can be really good at your job, and you can grind away year after year after year. But statistically, in terms of probability, I think the average job gets like a 1% to 2% raise per year, and that's fine. Cost of living is going up probably at least that fast. I mean, depending on what state you live in or what country you live in, typically rate of inflation is like 3-4%. So actually wage increases don't typically even keep up with cost of living increases. So the average, and again, I'm, as an educator, as somebody who speaks to a lot of people, I'm sort of speaking in terms of probability and the macro effect and the gross numbers. Like, the model of getting a job and working your way up to try to keep pace with cost of living is not, it's not really a formula for mass success, right? That's why most people, there's this looming, there's already a crisis, but it's only projected to get worse over the next several decades with Social Security and retirement. People can't retire, and people are outliving their money, and healthcare and all this stuff, right? You've got to decide. You've got to get really, really intentional. Like, you can't, you read all this stuff and it's like, oh, that's the problem. That's the crisis. That's what's looming. That's what most people have to look forward to. And you have to decide to say, I am not a statistic. I am not average. I'm not like most people. If you go watch 100 of my videos and you say, let me pull one consistent message out of Jeff's videos, the number one message that you're going to pull out of it is that you have a responsibility to make a decision in your life not to be like most people. You know what the enemy of progress is? Most people. You know what the enemy of joy is in life? Most people. You know what the enemy of economic prosperity is in this world? Most people. Being like most people is a recipe to have what most people have, which is sadly, tragically, I didn't create the situation. I'm just here to report on it. It is not that great of a life. And this is a channel that's committed to to helping people have an awesome life, an incredible, abundant, resplendent life that is possible if you decide not to be like everyone else. People don't start a business because they say most people fail at business. Who cares? You've already decided not to be like most people. People never reach the top of their career in a corporate job because most people don't get promoted. Most people don't excel. Most people don't outperform the people around them. Who cares? Even if you're going to work your job, be the best. You've already decided not to be like everyone else. That's the thing about my videos, and that's the thing about my mission, to help people have an awesome life. And it's the most wonderful part of my life, and also the most frustrating is this truth, this deep, hard to swallow truth pill that is, if you want to have a great life, even if you want to have a life that's just not that bad, you can't be like everyone else. You have to decide to be different. I spent my whole life, my whole childhood, not my whole life, but I spent a good chunk of my childhood wanting to fit in, thinking that there was going to be somehow some merit, some value in being more like everyone else. And I thank God for the day I realized that all I was asking was to retrograde, was to slide backwards in life, that the more I was going to end up being like everyone else, the less I was going to like who I was, the less I was going to have the life that I knew I wanted. It's ironic. Children are torn in this tug of war between, on the one hand, they dream these huge dreams, but then as they go through school and they go through the cliques and the process of socialization, they start to develop this feeling like, I need to fit in, I need to be like everybody else. Well, which is it? Do you dream and want to have greatness in your life? Or do you want to fit in and be like everyone else? Because those are two polar opposites. You cannot have it both ways. Look at the data. Don't take my word for it. This isn't an emotionally driven opinion. This is a fact. This is a statistics supported fact. You're either like most people or you have an awesome life. It's true across physical. It's true across personal. It's true across relationships. It's true across money. It's true inside of corporations. It's true out there as an entrepreneur. It doesn't matter where you look. There's people that have it awesome and everybody else. And at some level, it was a decision. Now, I know this is supposed to be a video out, should I start a business and what business should I start? But frankly, we can't really have that conversation with any integrity unless we have this conversation first. If you're going to start a business or you're going to keep your job, either way, if you want to have a great life, you're going to have to make a decision to be excellent and not be like most of the people around you. And consistently be seeking out new people around you, better, leveled up people that are orders of magnitude beyond where you are and that are totally in the direction of where you want to go, and try to get around them. You're going to have to take that attitude in life if you want to have a shot, okay? So anyways, to return to the original question, now that I've gotten that off my chest, hopefully you're with me and you're deciding, yeah, I'm going to be excellent. What business should you start, assuming you're with me that starting a business is a great way to learn and grow and become who you're capable of being? I'm going to suggest to you that there are 3 business models that I believe have the most power for people. These are the businesses that I teach inside of Entre Institute. These are the businesses that I participate in myself. These are the businesses that I see. And granted, I'm shooting this video in 2019. So if it's 2041 and this video is still floating around YouTube and you're watching it, I don't know. Circumstances may have changed in 2041. But in 2019, probably in 2020, I think it's safe to say these are the 3 business models that I really support as having the most leverage to get you through that cash flow phase. I did say there are 3 phases of business growth, and I realize I kind of skipped through the next 2, but it's basically growth and then wealth. But really, for practical purposes, for purposes of this video, it's about focusing on that first phase, that you've got to create an anomalous, untraditional, disproportionate influx of cash at some phase of your life, phase of your business, so that you can actually get into growth and creating predictability and creating stability, creating recurring income, and then ultimately wealth and building assets and all the really fun stuff, the stuff that's like real life versions of playing Monopoly. That all happens after you get good cash flow. So the 3 business models that I focus on, they are cash flow business models. And what's cool about them is each of these 3 business models has its own 3-phase possibility. So the first business model, and I'll go through these quickly because I'm going to end up doing videos on each of these business models. Actually, who am I kidding? I'll probably do 50 videos on each of these business models because there's so much to say and so much to teach and so much to learn. But the 3 business models are affiliate marketing, which basically means, and I use that as a pretty broad catch-all term to mean anything on the internet that involves making sales of other people's products and earning some kind of referrals or commissions. So I don't care if it's Amazon, I don't care if it's ClickBank, I don't care if it's Walmart's website. I don't care if it's high ticket affiliate programs, if you're selling information products, if you're selling education products. Heck, my company, Entre Institute, shameless plug, wink, wink, has a great affiliate program. It doesn't matter what it is, but anything you're doing where you're selling other people's stuff and earning commissions on it, that's affiliate marketing. And it has its own 3 phases of possibility where you initially the goal is to create positive cash flow, not spend much money, just try to find good products that have high converting funnels that pay good returns and build up a base of cash flow with that. Then you can move into the growth phase, and ultimately you can move into building wealth, which is really, I would argue, but kind of becoming like an influencer and starting to build your own real estate online. Again, that's a whole other, video's worth of content to talk about the 3 phases of affiliate marketing, but affiliate marketing allows for those 3 phases of business growth. That's one of the reasons I like it. And it's consistent with my values and the values of my teaching company that about things like, it's high cash flow, it leverages technology, it's geographically neutral. It doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in the right city or the right economy to be able to do it. And so forth. The next business model is what I generally call digital agency, which is basically developing any sorts of services that you can sell digitally through to other businesses. So it's any sort of business to business services that you can deliver digitally, or you can deliver locally. Like if you want to do it for the bagel shop down the street, that's fine, but it's going to leverage digital technology. It's going to leverage platforms. So for me, for example, I started by myself, calling up businesses, offering to do some basic types of digital marketing, and was able to grow that into a $20 million business doing, a digital agency. We went on the Inc. 5000 multiple times. I ultimately sold the book of business and had a really great outcome from it. But it started as digital agency services, digital services provided B2B, and I was able to move that business through those same phases of growth, cash flow. And you'll notice that the first 2 businesses I've said, they're digital in their base because digital businesses just don't have the same operational friction and overhead and cost and burden that comes with starting more traditional brick and mortar businesses. That doesn't mean that I only do digital business, but for people that are trying to get through that first phase of creating really aggressive positive cash flow, there's something to be said for being able to start a business where the internet or software-based systems, people that don't clock in, don't require health insurance, don't call in sick, don't even need to go to sleep at night or take a nap or go pick up their kids or whatever. Like when your employee is the internet and software that never stops, you're never going to get an OSHA violation because the internet slipped and broke its hip at your office. Like the internet and software is just powerful as a business owner to put it to work for you in a way that human beings, I love human beings, but we're fragile, right? We have issues and challenges, and it's hard to employ us. So that's why these business models, we like to leverage, digital technology as much as possible. And then the third business model is actually real estate. And you might think at first real estate doesn't really involve digital technology, but actually when you look at the 3 phases of business growth, cash flow, growth, and wealth. And again, I'll do a whole other video that walks through the phases in terms of each of these business models. But with real estate, when you say, okay, well, how do I approach the cash flow phase of real estate, the phase where I may not have a lot of money to spend, but I need to generate this anomalous cash flow? You're going to probably want to leverage digital technology as some part of the equation. And I'll give you an example. It's an example that's relevant right now in 2019. It may not be relevant in 2041, but Airbnb, for example. There are methods, there are techniques, and we actually have training that we're developing inside Entre that teach this. But basically, there's ways that you can leverage having almost no money. You can leverage real estate that already exists, that's owned by other people, and you can leverage digital platforms like Airbnb or VRBO, for example, and actually make money in real estate without having to, go get bank loans or without having to invest in property or just by leveraging digital technology. Again, it's whatever you need to do in whatever industry you're in to move into the cash flow phase, move through the cash flow phase as quickly as possible. You've got to get positive cash flow. I have other lessons about starting business and minimum viable product and lessons for startup entrepreneurs and all this stuff, but it all hinges around always the same thing. You've got to get ahead cash flow wise, or else everything else you're going to try to do, it's going to be a destination that's just too far away. You can't get there because you don't have enough gas in the tank. All that to say, let me sum all that up. I think I've just laid the groundwork for at least 10 other videos that I need to shoot. But all of that was to say, yes, I believe you should start a business. You need to make sure that you start a business that has these 3 phases of possibility: cash flow, growth, and ultimately wealth and asset creation. And the 3 business models that I recommend and that I teach inside Entre Institute are affiliate marketing, agency marketing, and real estate. So that's enough for this video. I wish you the best on your entrepreneurial journey. I think that, like I said, everybody stands to benefit from developing this part of their life that's self-determined. It's pass-fail. You're going to force yourself to pass, even though you know most people fail, and you're going to grow and be better because of it. If you want more content about this or in general about how to make life better and become more awesome and have a more awesome life, then please subscribe to my channel and make sure you click the bell so you get notified whenever I post new videos. And I will keep working my butt off to bring you more and more content about how to level up your life and get that awesome life that I believe we all deserve, even though sadly many of us won't go get it. Catch you next time.